All right. So can a baby lion kill a person? Can a rabbit gnaw off a person's arm? Can a dynamite literally blow a part of a building half a mile away? Can just a dynamite blow a part of a building half a mile away? Well, just being a small explosion. How about this? Does a um, does a does a medium-sized bird surprise you when it flies away? How about a flock of them? Do they literally surprise you when they fly away? How about this? Does the fact that when you're in the plane, what about the minor air turbulation? Anything that is minor really shake your body? How about due to the fact that even a 4 mile per hour car accident can actually cause a bruise on yourself or you and yourself? The fact that you're in a 4 mile per hour car accident and you're still having a bruise that can be deadly. What about a 60 mile per hour car accident that can really do a lot of damage? What about this? Did you know that a baby lion can kill you, but the fact is, an adult lion can be killed by a giraffe with one kick, with one swift kick, and that is like a ninja kick, like a karate kick. Not like I want to say anything like that, but it's with one swift kick with a giraffe can decapitate a lion and kill it. Yet a baby lion can kill us with its might and power. Also, what about the adult lion? What about the fact that just a small dynamite can blow a chunk of building, like a small chunk, like I don't know, like a few ounces, half a mile away, hurling half a mile away from the building itself. And even then, a dynamite planted somewhere elsewhere in the building, in a regular building, like an office building, maybe, I don't know, like literally 2,000 dynamites can actually turn a building down and actually destroy it. Also, a lot of that power with that little power compared to what's coming up next, which is a nuclear blast. What about that? That can make it's going good. And a nuclear blast can make a mountain move half a mile away and can turn us to dust. Not just dust, but basically turn us into cell matter. Now, what about that? Do you fear wolves? Do you fear bears? They have nothing in comparison to a like a dynamite, nor a nuclear blast. And also, do you fear lightning? That's just a small amount of charge from the sky that can create a big lightning. But what about the earthquake that can cause a landslide to literally cover the whole entire city with debris? Have you ever thought about that? God's power is holding this earth together, but also his power is preventing us from dying in some ways or the other. So, what about those little things you fear? Like spiders, little itsy bitsy spiders, or snakes, or anything like that. Do you fear bees? Those little phobias, There's little phobias. Yeah, I know. Or little earthquakes. Yeah, I know. Those little phobias. I mean, they can be very little, but of course, if you have those little phobias, shouldn't you be fearing God? And anyone that is and if anyone is causing, oops, sorry, if anyone is afraid of all these little things and don't believe in God, why do they not fear God? The one that created all these things. He is the one that created all these things. He literally created this planet and all its beings like that from just words. It was just his words, not his actions. Shouldn't you be fearing God? Because he has great power. He has mighty power beyond of what you can imagine. His power is just so great. It created the universe. And how big is the universe? And the fact that we can see a ball of the universe, I don't think it's just a ball. Our antennas can only carry so much information to see the ball of the universe. You can see only a clear, blurry image out of that ball. But elsewhere, the universe is bigger. I don't know how much bigger, but it's bigger. I believe it's like a fire. And whatever fan is fanning it is doing an awfully good job of keeping the fire alive. I don't know what's on out on the outer walls, but I can guess it's like these little vents. There's like it's hard to describe, but basically it's like these little coils, wherever they're made out of. They're keeping the universe alive. They're keeping the universe self-circulated at a certain temperature. Everything was created at an instant, which makes me think that by his words, he created a certain aspect of the universe. Now, I did say I want to see what the universe looks like. Look exactly. I want to see exactly the universe outside the Earth, but I don't know what it looks like. I believe, and the fact that he created the universe in 6 days and rested on the seventh. Now, he created the heavens, but first there was water. Something makes me believe he created a tabernacle filled with water that has been created firsthand by himself by just creating it one day. And then he went into the universe at some great smaller size than he used to be, since he can be any size he wants to be. Size doesn't matter, time doesn't matter, nor does anything matter. And that universe was so deep and so big. Have you ever seen a AC vent? Not exactly like that, but I believe we're close to that, like that as possible. At the bottom, I believe there's some sort of system to keep the stars alive. Yet it's an open air, it's an open space, and nothing can survive underwater, of course. So he separated the stars from the Earth, and everything was rock. So he basically turned everything on from one day, testing included. So by his words, he separated the waters, and by his words, he created the Earth. And by his words, the stars came alive, and by his words, life came forth. Because it took him 3 days to actually have life come alive. Who knows? But it could be like by his words. So basically, if he does everything by command, can he be anything he wants to be? He is a spirit after all. Again, as his spirit forms, he can be anything. He said, let's, of course. He said, let's create things by our image, by his own personal image. So you'll be seeing him as a light and as Jesus because he was the one that created Jesus as a man, as himself. Since he is infinite in time, and since he can, quite frankly, roll back time and do anything with time he wants to do, what about us? On Earth, we are limited with time. We are limited with a body. What about that dynamite? What about that rabbit that can do so much damage to us? That little bunny that can do so much damage to us. What about that lioness? That lion that's just a baby that can actually just kill us? What about the giraffe that actually can kill a lion in one sweep? Have you ever thought of God? If you have a phobia of spiders, if you have a phobia of small snakes, if you have a phobia of little things, what about God? Because the things I described, he created all this. We don't know exactly what his mystery is, but I believe this universe is just a very deep. I believe he created this very deep altar where the life is. Like, it's just everything else is lifeless. And, but this earth is alive. And he created a hell on one side. And don't do this. Don't take me for granted. But basically, if you're facing that laptop, I mean, this way, it's a lens. It's a lens thing. So this way is towards hell, and this way is towards heaven. If you're facing the laptop, if you're facing the universe, God is the other way, which is past. It's a complicated thing, but you know. But of course, I mean, hell's one way, and heaven is another way. I mean, think of it this way: if you ever die and you go to heaven to be judged, he will give you a cup of bitterness, of great bitterness, and then he won you from there. His power supreme. His power is so supreme that, you know, you know what he does. He is that powerful. He is infinite power. And think of the little things that you're afraid of. You should fear God. I don't think it's just 5 crowns. It's just five types of crowns. I've dreamt that I've had more than 5 crowns. But also, he can give you rewards. He can do anything he wants. But honestly, he loves us. But you should fear him because of his justice. Everyone should fear him because he can drag you to hell and you could die your second death. I heard what hell feels like. In some regards, there are some sections of hell that I know about. But really, I mean, hell's beyond horrifying, horrible, and disturbing, and violent, and miserable, and painful, and stenchful, and evil. None love. There's no love there. He may love you there, but there's no love that can go to there through him. That can go through that place to there, because there's no love there. Yes. And by the way, hell is for eternity. Hell is a place of forever. That is your second death. There is no third death. Because remember, as our body here, we have our earthly body that dies first. Then we have our heavenly body, which is in heaven. If we don't do the right thing, that's our second death. And the third body in hell, which is corrupted and evil and horrible. Have you heard of demons? They can be beautiful. Our bodies can be lustful as well. Demons can be beautiful if they want to be, but they're really horrible on the inside. But God has great power over them. Demons have great power over us because Satan, this is his planet, but God owns all of everything, including this planet. But Satan, that's his mark on his planet. For this is his mark, this planet, and everything that he owns. Soon Yobel, as a demon, as a Pope Yobel, he's going to rule over this planet, and um, he's going to basically create all these things that the Earth owned before. It's basically the things that we owned before was considered part of the mark, but the things that the devil owns, it's considered part of the mark. But soon, it'll be evident that it was part of the mark, and that by his law, you have to buy in order to have part of him, Pope Yobel. And he is cruel. He is a pedophile beyond pedophiles. But also, let me say, even that if the devil owns this planet Earth, God has complete utter power over all of us. He controlled every aspect of our story, and that's all. But he also chose some people to rewrite his story. He has a lot of past in his story. Yet, sometimes, Baal? That got me off track. But Baal or Babylon, Baal was Lucifer's second-hand buddy. He was like the vice president of Lucifer, then became vice president of Satan. He's like I guess you have to look at all these masks of New Age and the false gods to understand what Baal or Babylon looks like. But yeah, I mean, it's Lucifer's second-hand buddy. But also, Yobel is a prince over the earth as the price of the land. He's like the price over the land, actually. Babylon is basically the false prophet, and Satan is like the Antichrist. It's basically three frogs, but they're three evil spirits, basically. Satan is the Antichrist, Babylon as the false prophet, and Yobel, the mysterious one, as the beast system, the beast. He can be, but he has a golden body, and he represents gold. He has eagle's feathers. I don't know, like eagle's feathers on the skirt, and he's like a human, and he has a mask, and he can have any mask that he pleases. Yobel is like a dragon. He is the dragon, and Lucifer, he is an angel of light, and he has black hair that goes all the way down to the bottom of his back. And he's like a dog as well. Dog human. if you really meet him, you'll be shocked at how beautiful and how scary he really is. But then let's go back to God. I mean, God is Lord and Jesus is Lord. That is God. That Jesus is God. He is God over all. Again, don't curse people like that, or they'll be cursed, and they won't. What do you mean the dumbest mistake you ever read? But anyway, basically, if people disobey God, um, yeah, basically, if you disobey God, either you don't know about Him and you just are, what do you call it, ignorant about God, or you just don't care and you hate God. And that's when you hate God, you've already mocked the Holy Spirit because of what you did. I don't know how you did it, but you shouldn't do it, and that's good to know. Well, do you know how he did that? I want to know. I want you to know what he did. He was proud, and he was proud that humans would be less than us, and he decided that he had enough with God, and his that was actually the dumbest mistake about the angels. That was the angels' the dumbest mistake in history because they were all conspiring to go against God. They had a plan, but they didn't know that they were going to be struck down by lightning in one sweep. All went down in one sweep when they were going to war with God. That's how powerful God is. But anyway, yeah, God is, you know, just perfect with power. He is beyond power. Let me tell you something. With his extreme power, he can form mountains, form mountains. I don't think they even knew that, but anyway, form mountains and create the earth, create the universe. Not only that, he can create heaven. Now, as a hint, as there was a hint to know about what was going on, if you really read into what Myth is all about, I mean, it's a new age game, but if you read in the right way, you will know that just by writing a book, like what God was doing, he was writing with his own words by his own commands what every single aspect of life was going to be like. He was creating everything. Now, let's not be like certain people that think, oh, we can create things with our books and say we can create life with our drawings, because that's not really what it's all about. That's just being God. But basically, that's what God did. He said things with his words, and he did it in a hurry, because he knew that this delicate balance of life would take 7 days. Literally take 7 days. He said, "This is going to be the supreme perfection of my creation." And he rested on the seventh day, and Adam and Eve was created on the sixth day. And of course, they were, I mean, there was much life. There was extreme perfect life that Jesus created, God created, whatever you call him, because he is I am and I am. He is spirit, he is human, he is everything. And if you fear a mouse that does nothing to you except gnaw your skin away if it fears you, Do you fear God? That can blast your own spirit away, make you dissolve into a cloud of dust? Your second spirit? I mean, your second uh, body, and then bring you to hell? I mean, he brings you with his sword, and his sword is the truth in the Bible. And his sword, through his breath, will literally make it dissolve into matter. Think of a mouse. They're little things, right? Think of God. He created that mouse. Okay. What if you saw a rhinoceros charging after you? You'd fear after your own life. What about your God, who, in reality, created that rhinoceros? You should fear God. And since he created us, what about the insane men? Men that, you know, pose three great threats to your life. He created that man, but they had own free will. See, he created angels, and these angels disobey God. Those dumb angels, you know. But they also didn't realize that God has authority over all angels. If you know about this, of course you do, he has power beyond power. We all know that. He is beginning and end, Alpha and Omega. And he is the morning star. He is Jesus Christ that died on the cross. Now think of it. Jesus was like this when he's on earth. But what about his own great power? He was beyond power elsewhere. But he became a little man. He became human as flesh. And once he died on the cross, you could choose to be with him. The fact is, I chose to be with him. And I forever will choose to be with him. And I chose that. I choose that path to be forever with Jesus. Not just because I fear him, because I do, but also he's beautiful. He's loving. He's awesome. He's perfect. He has no sin. Yet he took all man's sin that would believe in him. Since I'm a sinner on earth, he took my sin, so I can no longer be a sinner. Doesn't mean I have to continue to sin. It just means no one's perfect. Since we're all sinners, no one's perfect. I mean, he did make a comment. I'm going to say interesting things to you. A little child might not want to hear this. Maybe they won't understand this, but we're like women's rags. We're like estrogen package rags, where the women have to protect their bodies, fluids. It's like rags with women's fluids on them. That's why it is. Period. Fluids on their rags. That's what we are. Germs. Brownness. Stained. Horrible looking. And we're not just like tissues that we've covered them. We're like rags in the dirt. Filled with period. Filled with horribleness. Yet God is perfect. And he took all of us in. And he knew that this would basically pretty much give him death. He was brave, and he took on that death. He took on the cross, which was cursed. And he took on this cross, which is Okay. But, he took on that cross. Okay, let me explain it to you. Back in that day, that's what they called rags, like dirty, filthy rags. That's what they were, period rags. Like, you'll understand later on. Trust me. Read this video when you understand. You understand, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, I understand now. Once you're 18 years old and you have a woman. Anyway, he took on all the filth of this earth, all kinds of filth, all the filth. He took it all in. He was brave. He was brave. He was literally saying, wow, this is my life. I'm going to take on all these curses of this earth, on this earth. He said, instead of being perfect, he took in all the sins. Took on all filth, curse, and all that. He took in hell. He took in his judgment. And 3 days later, not depending on how long he actually was, basically doing the paperwork and basically letting people free and all that. After all that time, after all he had done, and after his death, this most painful death, most horrible death you can imagine, and then worse, judgment, and greater death. But since he was perfect, he took on a flesh that you can never imagine. It was not just flesh, it was spirit that could feel and touch. At first, he was flesh, human being that was perfect, but then he was spirit. But the cool thing is, he put sin to the grave, underground, in hell. And we don't have to worry about sin anymore. All we have to do is accept Jesus, accept Jesus into our hearts, accept He died on the cross, accept what Jesus did for us, and then repent from the world. And then later on, get Him into us, and then His Spirit into us. Basically, get baptized in Jesus' name and get His Spirit into us. Get redeemed. After basically salvation, and then there's redemption, and then there's also glorification. Then there's redemption, and then there's that'll be a good time. First, then there's sanctification. Then there's after that, then there's edification, which is you knowing things more and more, and sinning less and less. Sinning less and less. And after that, when you die, there's glorification of a new body. No more new death, no more death. You're with Jesus forever, and forever in eternity with God, with Jesus, and forever in eternity in paradise. Eternity, forever, infinity, like this. That never ends. It's never going to end. It's an infinite loop. Infinite time. You can feast on that day. You can no longer eat on that day. Yeah, you better do that. And then, forever. Because with Jesus, it may sound silly, but if you play the Myst games, You have two people to listen to: the ones who are crazy and bad, and you think, oh, I don't really trust them, or in the matter of fact, you just think, oh, those little things. I mean, it has these little things like these people want to escape, or these people want to get your help. You give help to a lot of people, but which one do you give help to? Play Myst and you'll understand. I think the most powerful Myst game there is Myst 1, the first Myst. Then there's another more powerful one. Uru? Not Uru, Myst 5? Who do you trust in Myst 5? Those are more powerful ones. But I'd rather you play Myst 1 first. I mean, people you trust, it can be hard to trust anyone that is trying to escape, but really, you don't know these people. First, at first glance, you don't know which is trustworthy, what religion is trustworthy. You don't know if your parents are trustworthy. You don't know which person is trustworthy. You don't know which being is trustworthy or anything like that. Is Jesus trustworthy? Does he say what he really means? Or does the fact that Buddhism is trustworthy? Which one is trustworthy? And I chose Jesus because he describes human life beyond recognition. I mean, every religion has its ups and downs, except for cults. But in this Christian religion, even though we have a few downs, this was just from mere men, not from the religion itself, not from the book. For the book says we have to follow God's law, but then a few stories later, in the New Testament, it says, well, no one's perfect. So there are two flaws. There are two laws you have to follow. The first one is love Jesus beyond all else. Love God all beyond all else. And then the second law is love everyone like you love yourself. That's agape love. Support everyone. If you don't like someone, well, then too bad. That's your person. That could be a brother. Because if you care for someone, I was a little sorry, but basically, I heard that someone in his family got really crazy because of a medication they gave him because he escaped to Italy. I felt bad for that person. No one should get medication to make them less dumb, to make them less smart and not functional and all that. You know, that pill or that drug to make them the mind not what functions well. I don't like that drug. And when I saw another problem happen, there's a like a trash sink, like not literally trash sink, but you push a button in the you put the food down the drain, and the drain takes it in with a composer, and the composer puts things into the drain. Garbage disposal, yeah, like not really like a garbage disposal, but garbage disposal as a sink. One time I was like, oh snap, because that person that was working with me had put a fork in that garbage disposal. It was spinning really fast. Good thing I had a cover on, because I was telling him, I need to tell you something. That fork could have gone in your brain. A little part of that fork could have gone in your brain. I was being supportive of him. I did not like it when people lose their bodies. Like I'm very supportive of people. I don't know how to explain it, but basically, I feel sorry for people who have lost a lot. I love disabled, but that's just the way they were born. I'm accepting for that. But basically, when a person is born functional but then they get problems, they get illness, they get cancer, and then there's depression in the family, and then there's sadness. I support people beyond support. I have so much support over people. I care for people's lives. And I heard much later when I heard that fish grunt, I mean growl. When I hear fish growling, of course, basically, I heard a fish growl on YouTube, a catfish. I just thought, well, that's interesting. That's a cool noise. But then I realized that catfish was saying, "Please put me back." It was scared. It was sad. It was all these bad feelings because that catfish had just he didn't know he was going in back in the water. He just wanted to go back in the water, and he wanted to be freed. He wanted to be freed, and he wanted to literally. I mean, that catfish was battling to get free, and then when the man put the catfish back in the water, oh man, the beautiful part is animals live. Animals live to. I mean, animals love peace, but sometimes animals sacrifice themselves just for the greater good. I mean, this planet is filled with suffering. I also heard that in Africa there's not much money, but in America there's also the same amount of problems. Everywhere you get homelessness. And these people who are homeless, if I saw a homeless person, which I did, I would feed them, which I did. I'd say, okay, here's some food. Survive. Because these people are beautiful. These people have lives. Everyone has lives. And God hates suffering. And because of corruption, it's evident. Because not only is there corruption in America, I mean, basically, in America there's corruption, and then also elsewhere in all parts of Africa there's corruption. Italy there's much corruption. Everywhere you go, there you find corruption, but not just corruption. New Zealand, you find sin. Finland, you find sin. Sweden, you find sin. This world's falling apart. Not only is there sin, there is great amount of sin that is like Sodom and Gomorrah in America, greater in Europe than in America. Excuse me. But basically, everywhere we go, the suffering. So basically, if you're with Jesus, I tell you, heaven is beautiful. There shall be no more tears. You shall no longer strive for justice because all justice has been served. Once you're in heaven, all those who persecute you, that gives you glory in heaven. All that money that you don't have, that shall give you glory in heaven. Because America's not about rich people, nor is Africa. Africa's not all about poor people, nor is America. We all have money. I mean, there's little bit of money in Africa, but it's also like this in Africa. And we also are like this in America, but we are like this. Value? There's no value on Earth. And there's also amount. Doesn't matter because there's no value on Earth. The only values we have is gold, silver. And what God means by valueless, what God means by valueless, is what God has in heaven. He created everything with fine materials. He has opals everywhere. He has everything. All that is in heaven is created by God. It is His greatest glory in heaven. Because all was beautiful, all what is brilliant, His greatest beauty is in heaven. And let me tell you, in heaven, it's the greatest place on earth. Because in heaven there's so much paradise. No more tears. Just awesome paradise. Want to leave this earth? There will be much beauty. There will be much awesome things. Because God created heaven just to be beautiful, because once we have freedoms to create wherever we want, once God does, He'd rather have things that are awesome. Life, like abundant life. He just wants that. Since He created that, since He is the creator. I was going to get there, but you know what's funny? I've had dreams, and they've been pointing to the same direction. But then I've had counter dreams, where they've been trying to get me to another place. So I was going to get there, but these dreams. First, it was basically like, let me tell you the first one. No, one off the top of my head. I was being raptured, and it was towards heaven. He was trying to tell me, choose right from the universe where you're facing. It's very hard, but it's gonna be easy if you know what you're doing. And the second one, it's just, what was it? There were three of them, and I misplaced two of them. But I had three dreams. The next one, so I'll try to pick up. It was about the fact that we're in heaven. I mean, it was just indicating that what I said, the trumpets. There was the first trumpet on this Sunday, and several weeks later, with depending on a miracle call, I would just be picked up in heaven. And then the week before, lo and behold, same type of dream. I don't know. Since I decided that enough was enough on Earth, I'm not going to commit suicide. Hold on. Yes? Nothing. You're good. And it's. Yes? Thank you.
You're welcome. It's not gonna make you fall down if you step on them.
I'll be careful.
It's dangerous.
I know. Sorry. Let me just stop. Okay, so basically, the first thing, let me tell you that is interesting that I just had three dreams, and I mean, first one was basically. Let me look it up. It won't exit. Trust me. I have it in Gmail. This should spark a memory. Load fast, load fast. What the heck is that smell? Send. Come on. It's being slow all of a sudden. That's because it's a video. Music. So the last one I'm going to tell you is about music. 2008, the start of my salvation, and 2019, the end of my life. You know, in visions, how things can come true. Let me tell you something. I know this one for fact. Remember the videos I told you about the hurricane? Don't look at the hurricane one. Look at the fire one. And look at the evidence. First there was fire. First there was hurricane. And then there was fire. Exit this and then go to another source. You did. Okay, so which one was talking about there being a kicking in the groin and there being a fire in California, in Hollywood? Because that's proof that there was a fire near Hollywood, and that would be a kick in the groin, and that was the greatest fire in Hollywood. I didn't say that for a fact, but I did point out that this is that's going to be powerful, and I did say that there's going to be a 10.3 a 10.3 magnitude earthquake coming in the months, maybe. Yes, and that was a video that actually happened. I believe this in November or December. And that in that video, I believe was in September, maybe even October. Maybe you can look it up. Let me look it up as well, because whoops. I'm going to be a little frightened because all things that are happening right now are a result of my prayers. And I better get this right. Basically, videos is going to be interesting. All right. Let me see. What was 3 months ago? Sorry about that. I'm just looking. That's before. This is summer. What was 4 months ago? That was September. This is September I'm looking at. So, what was this? Kavanaugh, they say crucify him. That was October. I'm just looking. Don't worry. Okay, what about this serious news talk? Okay, what was... Yeah, I mean, that was 9/11, so that was, why did I say that? So this is gonna play my video, it's nothing major. Let me see, what's this all about? So I'm gonna, that's a little bit quieter. This was sent October 7th. This is gonna be like a bit of a personal story, but let me just tell you something. If you don't like Kavanaugh, this video is not for you. This is for those who have proof to see if he is. This is for those who want proof if he is guilty or not. And right now, I have no one's innocent. And what those ladies are doing, they're being hypocrites. These ladies are being hypocrites, like the Pharisees were. He's a man that is trying to do God's will. And sorry, but it takes a lot of people to hate. If anyone has hate in them, you don't care. I'm looking this up. Exactly that he actually did. You do not have proof that he is guilty. They're talking about how Kavanaugh is a bad person. He must be judged. And oh man, I can feel already. I'm too short, but basically, Jesus was literally up and out of it, because when I felt the Holy Spirit literally he made me think about all these people protesting and all these people saying crucify him, and also saying yay, he is guilty. All the thoughts popped up, like 100 thoughts per second, like literally 100 thoughts per second came up, and they were all muddled in, mushed together, and saying guilty, and all that stuff was coming in my head all at once. The next vision, I mean, that will upset Jesus, and I don't really suggest you to do that at all. Don't test the Lord, because he will do that. And he will, after you see this video, pretty much yell at you. Don't test that. You know about Jesus. You didn't know that Jesus. Do not say that because. Do not do that because I've done it already, and I have proof that he moved my hand from here to here to here, like higher than my face. I take it. He says. Well, that's on Sunday. I'm not willing to see this. October 7th. All right. So the case with Kavanaugh, let's turn on the television. He told basically one thing that God's not going to destroy is North Korea, because North Korea saved our butts. Hold on. I think it cost something. Instead of the hero. Okay. So basically, North Korea was considered. No, I didn't. We were not. As a whole, it's just an okay place. All it needs to do is not be like proud against other people or hateful towards other people because of religion. And it's gonna be okay, because it thrives for God. It really does. Okay, then there was, I'm sorry, just looking up, So this hurricane happened at that time. I don't know what. So this was still, I believe, October. Anyway. As we're saying, happened then. Don't worry, I'm just looking. Oh my goodness. See, I'm just trying to yeah, this is before the Hollywood fire happened. So that's when the Hollywood fire happened. But I have to go before that now. I'm trying to look at something that I can find here. Miracles done by Moses, and there were 11 done by Moses himself. That was through God. But these people that created these, I mean, it's the fact that God created all 11 miracles and only the demons could. That's the hailstorm, because I believe that tells us something. No, demons cannot create hurricanes. Only God can. That'll tell you something. Demons cannot create hurricanes, and only God can. I mean, remember that video on Sunday? That time when Hurricane Michael came. Sunday. I mean, I'm making sure that God is getting His justice towards America. He wants people to repent. If it takes a storm, let it be a storm. So obviously, there's going to be a bit of hassle with you guys in America. Obviously, in the world, the fact that these storms are biblical and all that, and how can a storm actually do this, and how is this even possible, and how can an earthquake actually blow in certain areas? I mean, we'll figure it out later on, I believe. But seriously, guys, I'm not telling you that the next earthquake is going to be major, but it's going to be something that we're going to wait on. What is the next earthquake? Obviously, I don't have control of this. Only Jesus does. God Almighty is the only one that can control all these storms. Like I said, if a demon was to control a storm, then we would be in great trouble. And besides, if there was a be the greatest Satanist, they would only be able to cause the obvious. Can cause things to turn into something else. They can cause things to, you know, but they can make turn into a serpent and a plague of blood, and then he's gonna continue to look at me and people like me, even though we're not perfect. But people will continue to purposely rebel against God. What do they have? They have perfect judgment against them. So, guys, okay, this is gonna be interesting. If you're thinking that a demon can go in a storm, create storms, and be within the storm and cause problems, I mean, demons cannot create storms. Only God can. Only God can create storms that can destroy things. He is God is creator, but He is a taker of things. God will create, and He will take away as well. And that is to lots of luxury, maybe. Maybe Washington, D.C. I don't say that's been taken away. I mean, lots of luxury, maybe. Maybe Washington, D.C. I don't say that's. I'm telling you that let me tell you something. God is gonna kick America in the groin. He's gonna hit it so hard that we're gonna cry out loud, wailing. Not only that, but there may be suffering of all suffering from minor things as well. Gosh, we don't even know what he's gonna take out, but he's gonna take something else. Obviously, he might even take out a whole bunch of money from America. You never know. And what storm he causes? Maybe you may make a volcano burst somewhere. Maybe I don't know, like earthquake. Maybe a hailstorm in New England area. Maybe I don't know, like maybe a huge tidal wave in New York to wipe a lot of people out. You just don't know. So I'm demanding you this right now. You don't have to do this right now, but I'm demanding that you do this for your life. That you must repent of your sins in order to get to heaven. That's my only demand. Is if you want to go to heaven, this is my demand. Is repent from your sins, so that Jesus is that Jesus died on the cross. Do that first. Repent, accept Jesus into your heart. Get baptized in Jesus' name, and then you will get the Holy Spirit. And the rest is up to not having the actual Jesus into your heart part, but basically the fact that it goes into your heart is to correct you. So the next thing is getting baptized in Jesus' name and then having him come into you in Holy Spirit form, so that he will be able to take you up. Then first read the I believe. And repenting, it's just simple. It should be simple. First read the hardest, I believe. And repenting is very hardest. And saves you. Let's look at this. Let's look at this one. Gosh, we don't even know who really didn't. Let's look over here. Only God can create storms that can destroy things. He is God is creator. Let's go over here. Because I remember something about this interesting stuff. Wishes, but the fact that he can basically take your life in an instant, or maybe take your life when you at least expect it. Remember, fear God, because he can do terrible things as well. Because he's got into judgment in America. The fact that he's doing it. The fact that he's wishing judgment on certain people in America. The fact that he's facing away from certain people in America. He's not happy with America, obviously. He's going to continue to look at me and people like me. Hold on. I think I heard something interesting. They only want us to die. So they'll kill us. And besides, if there was a be the greatest Satanist, it would only be able to cause sickness and blood disease. They can use to have another one, not the else one, but they can make. I don't know. I'll just look up chapter 7, chapter 8 for a reason, because if you look at Exodus chapter 7, this is the fact that those leaders, he can wishes, but the fact that he can basically take your life in an instant, and on certain people in America, that he's facing away from certain people in America. I mean, he's not happy with America, obviously. He's going to continue to look at me and people like me, even though we're not perfect. But if people continue to purposely rebel against God, what do they have? They have perfect judgment against them. So, guys, if you're thinking that, oh, a demon can go in a storm, I mean, only God can create storms. God is creator, but he is a taker of it. God will create, and he will take away. He will add things, and obviously, you're just gonna keep on going with it with the storms, no matter what, because it may not be complete devastation, but it might be infrastructure. It might be things that you really didn't want to have been taken away. I mean, lots of luxury, maybe Washington D.C. I don't say that. But I'm telling you that let me tell you something. God is gonna kick America in the groin. He's gonna hit it so hard that we're gonna cry out loud, wailing. Not only that, but there may be suffering of all suffering from minor things as well. Gosh, we don't even know what he's gonna take out, but he's gonna take something out. Obviously, he might even take out a whole bunch of money from America. You never know. And what sort of meat causes? You know, maybe you may make a volcano burst somewhere. Maybe, I don't know, like earthquake, maybe a hailstorm in New England area. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe a huge tidal wave in New York to wipe off people. You don't have to do this right now, but I'm demanding that you do this. So I think this is something to do with whatever that's gonna happen. Basically, that's just me trying to figure out the storm. But basically, I mean, that was me trying to figure out that was me trying to figure out what was going to happen to America. And of course, America was going to get the fire, but basically, I think I'm going to tell you a new video, or this video, for that matter, just to see what's going on. Oh. Hello, everyone. That's not the video I wanted. Miraculous video. No. Yes, he's not believing. Okay, but you know, I did say that America was going to kick it in the groin. I probably said maybe fire, so it was a fire. So, yeah. Hard to tell. Really hard to tell. But I mean, this is actually, kicking America in the groin. That means, I don't know, it's like, what was going on? I mean, couldn't find the video, probably didn't say anything, but the next thing that's probably going to happen, or maybe this is going to happen after that, but basically, there's going to be 10.3 magnitude earthquakes happening somewhere. I don't know. But I do know that there's going to be 8.6 in San Francisco, because that seems to be the prime area. And Hurricane Michael happened in Florida. So something before that. So let's see. Hurricane. Let's see. The 9th of. Oh, hurricane. Oh dear. Uh, so this was 2 months ago. Let's see what we. Uh, right. That's not it. Okay, that was later on. All right. Maybe urgent message. Um. Hello, everyone. This is Daniel, and for this message is urgent. All right. Who are the lost? Who are those who that perished? It is those that you didn't say the 7 words. These words are the redeeming words of salvation. Here they are. Jesus, I accept you into my heart. Not only are these. That was not the one I wanted to tell you. Urgent message. Yeah, that's my urgent message. But yeah, quite your question, my saves. Yeah. Hmm. Huh. What was the hurricane? What was that all about? Because that's not the one I. I was at home when that happened. Come on. Come on. Yeah, this one. Maybe. Because I'm trying to find the video that proves something that happened. Hello everyone, this is Daniel, and I'm going to be talking to you about America's most sinful month, which is October. This year, Halloween started off of... that was not it. Okay, let's pretend this is our days. 1, 2... When was a hurricane? This was a hurricane? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was October. So this was... Hold on. This was October 9th. 19th. That was October 19th. This was... Okay, that was a lot of videos on that day. October 15th. Oh! They say crucify him. But that's just something else. See? Kavanaugh, they say crucify him. Wonderful, isn't it? Come on, load. Load your well. This is going to be interesting. Come on, you can do this. You can do this. Let's go to the very beginning. I think Africa, as a whole, it's just an okay place. All it needs to do is not be like proud. You don't care about other people, and you want another person guilty, and it will make yourself better than everyone else. Kavanaugh, he says he was not innocent. He says he has done things I rejected, but we all have done that. I was a Satanist. And if you say I'm guilty because I'm a Satanist, back in the old days, why would you say that he was guilty because of a thing that we did not know exactly that he actually did? We do not have proof that he is guilty. Another funny thing. Today, this thing happened. I was going on a news channel. I was like, okay, this is enough. But there are two persons of it. He made me think about all these people protesting and all these people saying. And it came to a certain point of the television. Her thing is, I don't suggest you to do that. That will. This is all about Jesus. If you're part of the world, obviously he will yell at you, but you didn't know that. This is for those that have literally committed themselves to Jesus. Do not say that because do not do that because I've done it already and have proof that he moved my hand from here up to the television was off. Man, those thoughts came at me so fast, and I was thinking, willing to see this, turn it off. So the case with Kavanaugh, don't turn on the television, obviously, but they're always going to be talking about Kavanaugh. And they're doing these. As you can see, these ladies are working together as victims of rape to go against a man that has raped them. In Jesus' case, these Pharisees were religious and victims of Roman religion. They worked with Rome. Roman, as you say, Roman times and Pharisee times have one thing in common: they hate Jesus. He's and the fact that they say crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. I mean, this is very personal. Jesus, I believe, is wailing because of this. It's not like he can't take it. He just lies in his mind. And let me tell you what happened today as well. I told Lord, I told my Lord Jesus,
This is it.
do your own will, let your will be done. And I told him, do whatever you want to do with America. And he says, I'm gonna. He said I was gonna make another hurricane because of this.
This is it, guys.
Said, okay.
This is it.
He says, "Are you sure you want this to happen?" And I said, "Okay, you can do this. You can do whatever you want."
Hurricane Michael.
I gave him the freedom to do whatever he wanted with America because
Hurricane Michael.
Obviously, he felt very upset about what the
Hurricane Michael
doing to the Christians. You see, people that are in America, as people that are in Christian churches and all that, they're part of the gay movement and all that, because they hate man and they hate the authority and they hate anything that's part of God. It used to be the opposite, where people loved God, but and you took away the church and schools, and now the funny thing is, we're falling apart. God can't take it anymore. He's just gonna try to strike another hurricane on us because people can't take this. Obviously, there's people that are protesting against gun violence and people protesting against Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump. The good thing about him, the only good thing about him, is that he's doing the Christian thing and he's doing the right thing. But the people are pointing up. The people are trying to make people guilty without even proving it. I can tell you that one thing right now. People were wrong to prove Hillary Clinton wrong, but also we were right to prove Donald Trump wrong. Let me tell you another context. Hillary Clinton is not innocent. We're never going to be innocent. Hillary Clinton did some bad things. She would have handled things.
Nothing important here. So I'm going to write this down. So I'm going to try to find it here. Probably a few minutes back.
It used to be the opposite.
I'll try to find it.
I mean, this is very personal. Like you can't. And let me tell you what happened today as well. I told Lord, I told my Lord Jesus, do your own will, let your will be done. And I told him, do whatever you want to do with America. And he says, I'm gonna. He said I was gonna make another hurricane because of this.
This is gonna be interesting. Oops.
I'm gonna have to rename this video. I don't know, but I'm gonna. I don't know. Wow. And I'm gonna tell you what just happened. I mean, remember this was happening like literally a week before this happened. I mean, this was on October 7th. Now I'm going to. This is gonna take a lot of computer memory. I'm gonna look up Hurricane Michael. That's funny. Happened exactly when I prayed for it. Happened exactly the day I prayed for it, isn't it? October 7th to October 16th. Isn't that funny? Look at my YouTube video. That's a funny problem, isn't it? Now, that was God's will, and that he was doing it. Oh, that's a eureka moment. Anyway, I'm gonna right over here just look at I don't know, like 120 to 133. But this is exactly what happened. God was sending a hurricane because of my will and his will be done. I should probably say it more often, but sorry God that I used to, but this is exactly the point that I'm trying to say, is that God is the one that created the hurricane, and that exactly at the day that I made that YouTube video. No one knew about the hurricane. Then it grew in size. Then it is devastating work on America. See? And this is why you should fear God, because he can do a lot of damage. Matter of fact, he can turn this universe into dust. He can turn this universe into dust. And exactly. This is why you should fear God. Anyway, I'm gonna end this so I can sleep. But okay, I'll be done now, okay? Bye.